No, you moved it, and guess what?
No.
Your needle was not in the down position. You cannot play around unless you have it in the down position, because if you lift and turn, you lose your spot.
Okay.
All right, so you go like this.
Yeah.
Turn it. Check.
Mm-hmm.
There, perfect.
Okay.
Foot down. Now.
The needle up.
Yeah. And it gets all chunky. So, all right, no scissors.
No seam ripper.
Now we get the seam ripper. And this is how, well, you cut this from there. Mm-hmm. You always clean your exercises. So, grab one thread at a time. Mm-hmm. And you see you use this pointy finger. Mm-hmm. Here, you're going to have to hold this. All right, everyone, this is really important because you can hurt yourself. Okay, that's good. Right there, perfect. You grab one thread at a time. She's got a little bit of bunch stuff here going on. All right, so you have a knife, which is only at the curve. Mm-hmm. This is not a sharp edge, and neither is that. Only the curve of the seam ripper. Mm-hmm. I use this finger. You're going to do a lot of stuff with your pointy fingers. Mm-hmm. All right, so you're going to grab one of these. You're going to slip it right in between where the curve is. Mm-hmm. And then you press down on the table. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that moves is the thread. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way it's going to cut really close and tight. Mm-hmm. You don't go like this. You're going to poke somebody, you're going to hurt yourself. You'll make a hole in your garment. It's happened. Mm-hmm. That's why I press down. The only thing that moves is your hand that's holding the thread toward the curve of your seam ripper. This because I grabbed. See how I just went in there? Mm-hmm. Because I had a piece that was on the other side. Mm-hmm. There you go. And then you go to this side. And you always, after all your exercises, you've got to get rid of it. Whenever you sew something, the first thing you do is you grab your seam ripper, get rid of all these extra threads, and then you have like a little box. There you go. So here's her square. And as you can see, there's something going on here. See how it's loose?
That was when I lifted the needle.
Exactly. That's what happens when you lift the needle.
The needle always has to be punctured into the fabric in the down position.
That's right. So when something like this happens, you got to go back over. You got to now go back here, back stitch, and go over this. Otherwise, your garment's going to have a hole in it. So you have to put it back on the machine because that is not a finished square, is it, Donna?
Wait, so do I leave these in here?
No, we're gonna.
I have to take those ones out too.
Yeah, what you're gonna do is now seam rip. You're gonna go in here and you're gonna seam rip this out, and you're gonna use this part of the seam ripper.
The back stitch, you're seam ripping out.
You're gonna back stitch. You're gonna take away all of this so it's nice and clean, one straight shot. So I want you to now take these out. You always go to the back side of it. The back side, not the front, is harder to seam rip. The back side is the easiest. All right, go ahead, pull some out. Remember, the only thing that cuts is that curve of the seam ripper. You're sticking it inside. Yeah, you gotta really, that's why you need light. Okay, and then you can pull this out. You can go to this side and pull it out. Yeah, see, now it's clean, right? Let's turn it around. Get rid of this. Nope, it's on this side then. You gotta take some more stuff out. I think you have to use the seam ripper on this side now. Don't stick your seam ripper into the fabric, that little sticky thing. And then we're gonna put it back on the sewing machine, and she's gonna backstitch above where she took some thread out, and she's gonna finish in the other part where she's gonna have to do it by hand. Yeah, so let's see. This is what her swatch looks like, that one. This is what your swatches are gonna look like at home, I'm sure. If you run into this problem, this is what you gotta do. So you see now she has to pull this out. She's gonna have to cut this piece. we're gonna use a scissor now, just to cut that piece. And see the rest of it? You don't want any of this loose stuff, but you wanna be able to see where you left off. Here. So there you go. So she's got this part. So she has to start here, backstitch, come across here and backstitch before she gets to the corner, because you can never backstitch on a corner. All right? So what I like to do is I can put a pin, but you can mark it right here, like right there, start there. Okay? All right, everyone. So if you run into a problem like that, that's what you're gonna do. You grab your seam ripper and seam rip out that section and then go back over it. All right, on to the next lesson, the circle.